All right, let's get on to our Sunday night game. Speaking of those Denver Broncos, they're going to be playing Sunday night against the Colts. They opened 7:55.5, and there's up to 7.5, even some 9s out there, and the total up a little bit to 56. You know, here's a Denver Bronco offense that pretty much returns intact with their star offensive players, averaged 37.9 points per game last year, easily tops in the NFL, along with the passing offense, which was so potent. And then they're going to be going up against this Colt team that was very good last year, 11-5 straight up, 10-6 against the spread. But here's the thing about the Colts. The offensive coordinator, Pep Hamilton, he has been insisting on offensive balance. Now, it helped last year, helped bring Andrew Luck's sack total down from 41 as a rookie to 32. But overall, their offensive numbers dropped quite a bit. And you might be surprised to know that the Colts were 17th in passing and only 21st in rushing, as the Trent Richardson experience was a disaster. So, Harvard, I know they're going to try and probably go ball control, but boy, if you get behind against Denver, you're going to have to pass every down, and that may go out the window.
Well, I don't think Andrew Luck is ever going to go ball control. This guy has more character than anybody I've ever seen, and all he does is play because he refuses to lose. This is one of the greatest competitors you'll ever see for the next, 10 years, barring injury and things like that. But let's look at the numbers for this. The line is -7.5. It's a national TV game. It's one of the biggest games that's going. They're going to have probably the biggest audience of the opening week. The betting right now is 70% on Denver and 67% on the over. Now, I've got Harvard School of Handicapping coming up this week, and one of the things I'm going to be talking about is correlated betting. There's no way in the world that the odds makers are going to give away free money. And what I mean by that is they're not going to let you parlay. They talk a lot about parlays, correlated parlays, where you would take the favorite and the over. Well, in this case, you got everybody betting Denver and everybody betting the over. They're not going to set up the line to where that parlay is going to hit. So your choices really are, do you like Denver and the under, or do you like Indy and the over? Well, personally, I love the over, so therefore I must like Indy. I don't argue with it. I've been playing this for 31 years. Now, if you want to look at a couple stats, one of the biggest stats for Indianapolis is Robert Mathis. He was a 20-sack guy last year. He suspended the first 4 games for whatever. They were 26th against the run last year. Denver was 27th against the pass. So I'm sold on the over. And any time that you look at these correlated and uncorrelated parlays on a big national TV game or a Monday night game, Sunday night game after the whole weekend's ready to clean up, they're not going to let everybody get even by throwing in a Denver and an over parlay. So if you're thinking about betting Denver and over, I would switch either Denver or I'd switch the over. But personally, I like the over in that game, so therefore I must like Indianapolis.
All right, that Denver defense last year, 8th against the run, but 27th against the pass, a little misleading as most teams had to pass against them. New faces with DeMarcus Ware coming in, plus Aqib Talib from the Patriots. Seems like he's been around a long time, but he's only 28 years old. Very good physical corner, but he is injury prone. Last 3 years, he's only averaged 8 games per season. And a couple of trends to keep in mind. The Colts in week 1 of the NFL season 0-6 against the spread. They are 6-0 ATS against Denver, and the last 8 meetings between these teams, 7-1 over the total. Zach, how do you look at this AFC showdown?
Well, being that it'll be Sunday night again, it's definitely going to be all eyes on this game. Some bettors are going to be looking to make additional money, and some are going to be looking to get back their money. So it's a good line. But if you look at Denver, I kind of compare what Peyton Manning and John Elway are doing there to the NBA with LeBron James. They pick who they want, and they get the players they want. They have added asset after asset after asset over the last 2 to 3 years. You mentioned some of the defensive players, key assets, and they're going to contribute. They added Wes Welker last year. They added Emmanuel Sanders this year. So they've got key components on both sides of the football. And then you look at Indianapolis. Who does Andrew Luck have? They've got Trent Richardson, who was the laughingstock last year after he got traded to the team. They've got Reggie Wayne, who was Peyton Manning's number 1 receiver 3 to 4 years ago, coming off a serious knee injury. And they brought on Akeem Nicks. When was the last time he made it through a full season with the New York Giants? So I don't know if the Colts have the assets to match up against this heavyweight of the Denver Broncos. So I'm expecting this line to continue to move. I don't know if I would play this at this high of a number, but I would expect Denver to blow them out.
Okay. Well, look at last year's score too. There's a little revenge out there. You know, Indianapolis, they won 39-35. They scored 72 points, and I'm telling you right now, it looks like it's going to fly over the total.
That's right. We got a revenge matchup, too. And that was the first loss, too, that Denver suffered last year. I'm going to take a stand on this game with the Denver Broncos, the home team, because when they face defenses that are either soft or flawed, it's really the perfect storm, the perfect matchup for them. I mean, we all remember, as Harvard mentioned, Seattle chewing them up in the Super Bowl, but that was just a powerhouse defense. The Colts aren't anything like that. 26th against the run, 13th against the pass last year. And when the Colts went into the playoffs, if you remember in January, there was a lot of people around the country saying, you know, maybe this is the team that could be world beaters, because during the regular season, they beat the 49ers, they beat Seattle, they beat Denver, they knocked off all these powerhouse teams, and with luck leading the way, people thought they might be able to make a run. Well, what people overlooked was some of the losses that the Colts had last regular season. They played the Rams at home. They lost 38-8. They went out to Arizona. They lost 40-11. They went to Cincinnati. They lost 42-28. Playoff game against Kansas City was a remarkable comeback, but still they gave up 44 points to a conservative, weak Kansas City offense. And then the next week they went to New England and they got chewed up 43-22. So I'm going to lean toward Denver, a team that's 4-1 against the spread in September, and home field has meant a lot when these teams meet 6-2 against the spread. So I think Denver wins this by 14 or more points.